Hello everyone, I'm going to be talking to you about some testing strategies and kind of how to present it to your students. So this is a strategy that I used to use in my classroom, and we would focus typically on one question every day as a warm-up. So I pretty much, if you can see, I cut out the text from the the common assessment, and then the question that I'm going to focus on, and I cut it out and I folded back the actual answer choices. And on the top I put what is being asked, what skill should I know to answer this question, and I highlighted a line there. This is the Foursquare that I used to teach my students. I used to do words I don't know. They would actually underline those in blue. They could use a blue pen or a blue highlighter. The question, so what is it asking? Again, they can have them highlight the question. Artifacts that will help me with my connections, and that typically comes out of their annotations from their text and their justification for their answer. So when you present this, you really want to have them revisit the text again and start from the top. You want to make sure that they are looking at the different words, they're making their annotations. If you want to have them use sticky notes to annotate or whatever the case may be. But as we always encourage is, their paper should have, it should be dirty by the end of the time that they get done questioning and filling out their answers. So for this specific question, this was number 5 from the common assessment, and I chose this one. It was one of the ones that we scored very low in, and it's actually our 7.10C, and it is using different organizational patterns as guides for summarizing and forming an overview of different kinds of expository text. So what does that really sum up to is basically how the author organizes the information and what is the purpose behind it. So you really want to just facilitate that discussion with the students. You don't want to give them that response. You want them to really look at the question and read it once without looking at the answers. That's one of the reasons why we ask that they fold it back. And have them read it to themselves. This is not an out loud process. You want to have them read it to themselves. So look at the outline of information about animals and earthquakes from the article. Here's the article. It's stapled next to it. And I put one staple because there's 2 pieces of text on there. You need to teach them with this information when they see boxes like this. Typically, the question will ask to pull the information from here, but they also need to know that this is a 2-step process. Just because the information is here, there's also pieces from the text that will tie into that. So first they need to read the entire question. So odd animal behavior before earthquakes, and then it gives numbers off. So rats and snakes flee city. Number 2, dogs bark for no reason. Number 3, cats run away from home. And number 4, you could even have them highlight this because this is probably what we'll be looking for. And then explanations for behavior. Birds sense changes in air pressure. Snakes sense changes in water pressure. And many small animals hear or feel ground vibrations. So the question, which we're going to highlight, which of these belongs on the blank under the heading odd animal behavior? Okay, so the first one, odd animal behavior before earthquakes, you want to really guide them to where would that answer typically be found? So the way that this text is kind of laid out, it's by question. So you really want to get them to maybe point out what each question is on this piece of text and then where this information would be found. So that would be probably the first process, is guiding them through that. But you want to make sure that you also target words that you don't know. So out of the actual question, because the focus really is on the question, which words does the students not know? So let's say they decide to underline the blank. So some students may not understand that. So they could write it down here and they could define it. And this could be something that they use the dictionary for. And this box will look different for every child, and that's okay. There's different vocabulary gaps for every child, and this should be very personalized. The question's already highlighted. You can give them the option to reword the question here into their own vocabulary if it makes them feel comfortable. And in this box right here, it's called Artifacts to help me with the connections. This, basically, they're going to pull which paragraph can I find this information. So as you can see, back to the text, this first paragraph where it says, Dr. Barrett, what are some odd behaviors that animals show before an earthquake? So we're looking for that because odd animal behaviors is what we're looking for. We want to get the discussion to lead the kids to this paragraph right here. When we're typically looking for a blank, you want to guide the kids with, okay, let's use process of elimination. What's already there or what can already be found, and what is missing from that piece of text. Again, you're guiding them to this specific paragraph 1 and 2 to find the information. And then they justify their answer here. Now for this question, we do have to work with the actual options. But typically, like when we're talking about other questions such as main idea or summary or things like that, I would always recommend to fold back the answers because you want them to start thinking for themselves. So for the justification process, you could pull back the answers and you could have them do a process of elimination. So spiders and frogs tune into seismic signals. So we really look, remember the focus is right here. So we really look for spiders and frogs. That is actually down over here on another question. So what might explain this animal behavior? So that's not even relative to the odd animal behaviors before earthquakes. So that should guide the kids to use their process of elimination. Now actually I'm going to erase that because in some of the tests it has the bubbles on the side and I don't want to train the kids that way. So we'll ask them to put the X on the side. So mammals, fish, birds, reptiles, and insects do odd things. So that is one of the sentences on here. So this is kind of, you always want to tell the kids there's going to be an answer choice that is going to be a distractor. And it's very important that you teach kids that there will always be two answer choices that will automatically be eliminated, but then there's one distractor and then there's one choice. So this one is the distractor. If you notice, it's in that paragraph section, but it doesn't tell you what that odd behavior is, and that's what we're looking for. So that is something that you have to talk through, and based on the data, this is really the answer that the kids chose. That's why we scored so low. It was that distractor. You might even want to add a D on there to let the kids know that's the distractor. They're trying to fool you. Elephants move to higher ground. So let's look at that second paragraph. And it says, many eyewitnesses reported seeing elephants and other animals moving to a higher ground before the wave hit. So that is characterized as an odd behavior before an earthquake. So that could possibly be an answer. So we'll put a little question mark on there. We still got to read one more, and that's important to teach our kids that they have to go through all their options first. No clear link between animal behavior and earthquakes. So basically D is just saying that this piece of text was worthless and it doesn't exist. So that is an automatic X because that is basically saying that paragraph 1 and 2 do not exist. So based on these options, you know, you teach your kid, if you have 1 or 2 question marks at the end of going through all the process of elimination, then you need to really evaluate that. But in this case, we decided it was C. So they write on the justification, they write this letter C. You can have them write the entire answer if you'd like. If not, after the period, it'd be good for them to write the justification. And in this case, it would be that the justification is that in paragraph 2, when the doctor was asked about odd behaviors in animals, he responded that that was one of the odd behaviors. So that's what the child would write in that. The artifacts right here, you would write paragraph 1 and 2. Okay. So this pretty much sums up. I do want to also let you guys know that for the Magic 3, one of the first strategy is identifying the genre. So make sure that when you're going over this text again with the questions, that the first thing that you do is identify the genre. In this case, it's expository. So you want to get them in the habit of writing that at the top. Their annotations should be part of it. And their process of elimination, making sure that we have an actual system that we're teaching these kids. So this is just a little idea. This is what worked for me. I used this many years in the classroom and I had great results with it. But the kids really have to know what is it that they're asking. And I didn't fill that in, so let me fill that in real quick. It was organizational structure. So, this is, you know, the first time that you work on this, it's going to take a while. That one question may take you 10 to 12 minutes to go over, but it gets faster every time. And if you really invest in getting the process right, they will be able to be more successful. So just be patient with it. You know, if you want to use different colors, that's fine. But just having that true value in the justifying part and getting them to really highlight the words that they're not understanding. Also for the words I don't know, the blue, you can also have them underline here if they don't understand certain words from the answer choices. You can add that as an option. Those words typically go here, and have them use a dictionary to actually define them before they go through the process of elimination. If you have any more questions, feel free to stop on by. I really hope to see these strategies. Thank you.